Breaking right now at noon, new photos were just released of 6 people near Piedmont Park the night a woman and her dog were brutally murdered. Katie Janess and her dog were found stabbed to death after they went on a walk in the park last week. The heinous crime putting fear in the hearts of the local community. CBS 46's Trayson Bragg is joining us live. He is outside City Hall, where the mayor, the police chief, and other investigators shared information regarding the investigation into who's responsible for this. Trayson.
That's right, Kabir. Well, as you said, they just released those 6 photos of people who they're not saying are suspects. They're saying that those 6 people were in or around the park at the time Katie was killed. Now, they're hoping that those 6 folks will reach out to APD so that they can find out if they've heard or saw anything the night of the killing. Now, we also learned in this press conference that Katie's killing is the first in Piedmont Park in about 12 years. We learned that Police Chief Rodney Bryan says he called in the FBI very early in this investigation because of, quote, the uniqueness of this killing. He says typically since the start of the pandemic, our violent crime victims actually knew their killers. Right now, investigators don't believe that's the case in this investigation. And as for the rumors circling online, both the mayor and the police chief say they are false forms of sensationalism that are hampering the investigation. The mayor said that at this time, there is no proof or evidence that there is a serial killer on the loose or that this was in any way a hate crime. APD did also address why they are not sharing more details about this investigation at this time.
There are things that only the individual or individuals responsible for this know. This is very important when we apprehend them. This is what we use as to further our case in order to bring them to justice. I know there are a lot of questions. And again, we're going to continue to provide information when we can and when we deem it's necessary.
We heard it right there from APD. Now, going back to the cameras in the park, what we learned today is that those cameras were placed in Piedmont Park back in 2008. The word obsolete was used because those cameras do not directly communicate with APD's interface for their cameras. So there is some talk that there may be newer cameras placed in Piedmont Park down the line. That is still yet to be determined. But again, those 6 people, APD, if you are one of them, they're hoping that you reach out to them in hopes that you can tell them anything that you may have seen or heard during the time Katie and her dog were killed. Now, we're going to continue to have more details coming up in the later shows here on CBS 46. You definitely want to stay tuned. We'll have more insight on this investigation and more insight on what officials had to say this morning. Reporting live from City Hall, I'm Trayson Bragg, CBS 46 News.